Let's start off by talking about the Gwyneth Paltrow situation. Okay, so let me lay the groundwork. Okay, Gwyneth Paltrow. I know her as a scam artist when it comes to business. I know her as someone that has a very thriving company called Goop that allegedly depends on a lot of misleading claims about their products, fear mongering. They're very anti-science. They're all about clean products, and that's a bunch of bullshit. To be quite frank, to be quite honest with you, it's pretty crazy. However, um, however, this has nothing to do with that. Okay, so apparently she was skiing. She was skiing. She was, with her family. It cost like $8,000+ to go skiing. Who would have thought that skiing was such a very expensive hobby to have? I wouldn't know it because I have no interest in skiing. Never will go skiing in my entire life. I don't understand what is it about skiing that's alluring. I don't know. It's cold. To me, nothing about skiing, the idea of skiing, is appealing whatsoever. You gotta be crazy to go skiing, in my opinion. Anyway, she went skiing, and an accident occurred where she claims she was hit from behind. Now here's where the gag happens. The guy that allegedly hit her claims that she's actually the one who hit him. Now, if you are somewhat stationary, moving slowly, let's say you're going 5 miles per hour down a hill, and then someone comes up behind you going, let's say, 15 miles per hour down the hill, it seems pretty difficult to me that there's a discrepancy about who hit who. That just seems, right from jump, we've got a problem. Houston, we've got a problem. Right from the jump, okay? So keep that in mind, that this is purely a he said, she said situation. They both have witnesses. This is the gag. They both have witnesses that claim the opposite story as the opposing party. This is crazy to me. So, one of two things is happening. Well, no, only one thing's happening. Someone's lying. Somebody's lying. Okay? Somebody's lying. I don't know who's lying. I don't know. But someone is lying. But here's where the lawsuit comes in. So the guy says that Gwyneth ran into him and caused massive injury. Okay? He can't think clearly anymore. Memory loss. Train of thought is completely wackadoodle. Just all this stuff is happening now to him. Keep in mind, he's an older gentleman. And so now he's suing her for $3 million 3 years later for all these injuries that he has since incurred, allegedly due to a ski accident. Okay. Now, there's lots of different ways you can poke holes into his story. Okay. Why are you suing me now? Why didn't you sue me the day of the accident? Now, allegedly he claims, and I actually believe this part. Let me tell you what I believe, okay? Because I don't want to get too long-winded here. I'll tell you what I believe. I believe that he ran into her. Okay? I believe he ran into her and he incurred massive damages from an accident that he caused. But I also believe the way he described what happened after the accident, seconds after the accident. Gwyneth is screaming at him. Her husband is screaming at him. When they're done screaming at him, they leave him. He's still on the ground, by the way, because he has broken ribs. Now this, you can't make this shit up, okay, by the way. He has fractured, I think 3 to 4 fractured ribs from this accident. So you cannot, that is not up for discussion. He broke ribs due to this accident, okay? So you've got someone, and I don't know if you know what it means to have broken ribs, but it's not very pleasant, okay? So, he's on the ground still. He's not gotten up. Gwyneth is up, the husband's up, Gwyneth's ski instructor, he's up. They're all berating this man that has caused this accident, okay? Berating him. And they leave him there. They leave the man on the ground who's in pain, can barely talk. They left him there, stranded, on a mountain. Left for dead, basically. Now, luckily, some guy helped him up, propped him up. Then they got a toboggan down to like the bottom layer of the mountain, the ski mountain or whatever. And he got medical attention and all. And then we get into all the other drama. But that part, I believe. I think it's not quite a hit and run because Gwyneth didn't hit him, but you did run. Like, where is the common decency? Where's the humanity to check in on someone who's obviously incapacitated in front of you? Yeah, he caused the accident. Yeah, you've missed a half a day of skiing with just like $8,000. I get it. I know. Rich people problems. I understand. I have empathy. I understand. So I know you're pissed. I know you're upset. I know you're a very busy woman scamming the girls with all your fucking ridiculous skincare products and beauty products and home products. Like, I know you're very busy scamming the girls. I get it, Gwyneth. I get it. But you didn't have enough, empathy to sit there and make sure that he was okay medically after the incident? That's weird to me. Now, multiple things can be true at the same time. Just because she was somewhat inhumane in her response to the accident does not mean that she's liable for the accident. What I think happened is this guy, the plaintiff, Terry, I think Terry, had a concussion. He's confused. He's upset. Doesn't really remember exactly all the details. But what he does remember is the lack of human decency. What he does remember is the lack of respect. What he does remember is how hurt he felt to be left stranded there and the immense pain that he was in. And I think this lawsuit is about retaliation. I think this lawsuit is about bitterness, about not being seen. He has an invisible illness now that has changed his life, and he's not feeling seen, and that's frustrating. I get that. I understand that. I just don't think that makes her liable for it. It was an accident. It was an accident. So, I don't know. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for that? I don't know if I'm crazy or not for that, but those are my thoughts on the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. I've been watching every piece of trial so far since day one. I have to watch. I'm behind 4 hours as of right now, but the attorneys have been scrappy. They've been sassy. They've been aggressive. Gwyneth Paltrow's attorney is pretty deplorable. He's a whiny little bitch. I'll just be quite frank by saying that he's a whiny little bitch. He's been complaining for the last 2 days. He's been complaining about how he can't fit all of his witnesses in. Okay, they're all on a tight schedule. Gwyneth's family are flying in from across the country, and they just can't be bothered. They only have a certain amount of time to give testimony. Well, listen, as an attorney, that comes with the territory that trials go late. Trials get extended. Bad weather happens. Why are you bitching and complaining to the judge? And the judge is like, listen, homeboy, this is just the way it is. Make it fucking work. That's what the judge has been reprimanding him constantly about his incessant complaining about things that are out of everyone's control. These are things that are out of everyone's control. You don't get special privileges just because, you know, you have a tight schedule. Everyone has a fucking tight schedule. What? It's a lawsuit. It's a trial. Everything's tight. Everything's under time crunch. So it's been kind of ridiculous. He's also been very condescending. Very, very condescending towards the jury, the judge, and the plaintiffs. Very condescending. Just with some of his commentary has just been crazy to me. The other attorney that is like making a lot of noise on social media is the female attorney on the plaintiff's side. It's interesting seeing what has gone viral about her, because she has been characterized as a suck-up or like a Gwyneth Paltrow fan, or like some like stalker who wants to be her bestie or something like that. And if you watch the entire testimony for Gwyneth Paltrow, that's not the perception I got at all, because one of the highlights, this is like a spectator sport for me, but one of the highlights of the trial is when that specific attorney accused Gwyneth Paltrow of lying multiple times under oath and accusing her of perjury. When she did that, Gwyneth Paltrow's attorney stood up and said, "Strike that from..." He yelled at the judge. Gwyneth Paltrow was like, and it was like the most dramatic thing ever. But it was interesting the way she did it, because the whole sucking up where she's like, "Oh, I wish I could be your height," or "I wish I could be your weight," like those like weird comments where she's kind of sucking up to Gwyneth Paltrow. It was her unarming Gwyneth, creating rapport with Gwyneth, making her comfortable with answering questions. So she did all this whole sucking up and being nice and flirtatious and all this stuff to Gwyneth, to then stab her in the fucking face and accuse her of perjury. It was very shocking. And I audibly gasped myself when she did that, because I'm like, wait, I thought you liked Gwyneth. Like, I don't know. It really rattled the entire courthouse, and it was quite the moment. And I think it was intentional. I don't think she's a fan of Gwyneth at all. I think she's just a very, I think she's doing her job as an attorney of rattling people and getting them to say things that she wants. And I think she did a good job. Gwyneth did a really good job in her testimony too, being concise, non-emotional, non-confrontational, and direct. So I think she did a good job there. What else happened with the Gwyneth Paltrow? I think that's all I have to say about the trial. I think those are my opinions on the Gwyneth Paltrow trial so far. Again, to summarize, I think Terry ran into her. Okay, shame on him. He ran into her. I think that after it was obvious how injured he was, Gwyneth, her husband, and her ski trainer, they exhibited pretty deplorable behavior towards this poor guy. It's not like he ran into her on purpose. You know what I mean? It's not like he ran into her on purpose. Okay? But they berated him, and they left him, deserted him, without making sure he was okay after an accident. That would be like if someone hit me in the back of my car, and then their airbag exploded and like broke their neck, and I got out the car, sort of bitching at them about, you damaged my car, how dare you, why would you, why did you? And then I just leave, because there's no, I just leave while he has a broken neck in the car from the accident that he. That's what it's giving. That's what this is giving to me. Now, does he have the right to sue me for his broken neck? Fuck no. But I would have had enough I would have had enough common decency to call the ambulance and to say, hey, this asshole ran into me and he hurt himself. Make sure he's okay, please. That's what I would have done. Gwyneth didn't do that, and I think that's why he's upset. And that's why he's suing her. Because he's bitter. He's bitter. I think that the judge should dismiss this case. I think the jury is not going to come to any conclusion that anyone's right or wrong, because you really can't prove it. I think the jury's going to say, hey, Gwyneth, I know you want this guy to pay for your attorney's fees. No, pay your own fucking attorneys. Homeboy, you're not getting $3 million. Pay for your attorney's fees. Goodbye. Good luck. I think that's what it should come down to, and that's my opinion on the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. Now, moving on. Let me text and see, what was specifically the question about mineral sunscreens? Because I forget. I guess in general, while I wait for that reply, a mineral sunscreen is a physical organic sunscreen, something that's like how can I say this, not chemical based. So usually it features zinc, nanoparticles. I would say in general, I don't want to say listen, I don't buy a lot of sunscreens, okay? And I don't recommend that you do either, because once you find one that works really well, just keep using that one, okay? So I don't know what the newest technology is for mineral sunscreens, but traditionally speaking, when you think about a mineral sunscreen, these are sunscreens that tend to have white casts on some level. Depending on your skin tone, they will generally have some sort of white cast. Okay. Chemical sunscreens can be completely clear and blur with the skin and be undetectable. But mineral sunscreens tend to be, more of a cast. And that's because they usually sit on top of the skin and they create a barrier that reflects the UV rays away from your skin by creating that layer of a barrier on your skin. Chemical sunscreens, on the other hand, are inorganic. They are chemical. They use all types of unnatural chemicals to create a barrier, not like a physical barrier, but basically like a reflection against UV rays. And so I think that for me, and I'm just speaking generally for me, chemical sunscreens have tended to break me out more often when trying different ones, whereas mineral sunscreens have been more gentle for me. That's not everyone's experience. I'm not saying that it is, but that has just been me with the sunscreens that I have tested in the past. Mineral sunscreens have been the better in terms of not causing acne, whereas chemical sunscreens I've had more reactions to. I also feel like I look better when taking photographs with chemical sunscreens than I do with mineral sunscreens. Again, mineral sunscreens tend to have more of that white cast. Oh, hey, Queenie. You're welcome. You're fine. Don't worry about it. What did you? Oh, you didn't say anything. Okay. So yeah, those are my experiences with, mineral versus chemical. Now, I have found a handful of chemical sunscreens that don't break me out at all. But it took some testing, it took some trialing to find those. That makes sense? It took me a while to find those types of sunscreens. Queenie, you missed my breakdown of the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. So when this stream ends, you can go back and watch that if you're interested. I don't know if you're into the Gwyneth Paltrow trial or not. I'm big into lawsuits. I love a good lawsuit. I'm always watching Emily D. Baker. She's my fave. So I've been very invested into this trial. But what was your specific question about mineral sunscreens, if you have one? Because you're getting ready to go out of the country. You're getting ready to go dip it and do it. I want to know how I can help, if at all. It was more people in the comments that don't understand what mineral sunscreen is and what to expect from it. Yeah. So I'll reiterate what I said, in that mineral sunscreens are physical sunscreens that literally lay on top of your skin. So they create a very thin but strong barrier against UVA and UVB sun rays. I think that, yeah, you gotta rub it in. Also, let me give you a pro tip. Let me give everyone a pro tip about sunscreen. The 2-finger method, okay? You wanna put 2 fingers of sunscreen on. And I know that with mineral sunscreens, that can be difficult. Let me give you a pro tip though. Add 1 finger at a time. So add a finger, boom, boom, rub it in. Rub it in. Rub it in, rub it in, rub it in, until it's gone. Okay, so you're rubbing a little bit in at a time. And then let it sit 30 seconds. Okay, I know we all got shit to do in the mornings. Let it sit. And then take your other finger, do another finger of the mineral sunscreen and rub that in. Rub it in, rub it in, rub it in, rub. It takes a while to rub in a mineral sunscreen. But if you add 2 fingers at the same time, it's gonna be a shit show. It's gonna be a shit show. Adding 2 fingers of sunscreen, even if it's a chemical sunscreen, it's gonna be a shit show. Add 1 finger at a time and you will not have as much of a difficulty rubbing in your sunscreens. Okay? But again, I know some of the girls are gonna say, Joe, you're making shit up. I'm not making anything up. What I am saying is that mineral sunscreens tend to be less reactive with my skin. My skin. Okay? So that's the situation for me with mineral sunscreens. I think mineral sunscreens are good, but I think a lot of people that are influencers, they tend to prefer the chemical sunscreen because it looks better in photos. Influencers and content creators are in front of the fucking camera all the time. They're taking selfies all the time. They're taking videos all the time. And so it doesn't look that great relative to using a mineral sunscreen with chemical sunscreens. So, nice. That's exciting. Also, some people say, and I would agree with this, sometimes mineral sunscreens, they feel a little bit heavier on the skin because, again, chemical sunscreens are seeping into your skin. They're seeping into your skin, whereas mineral sunscreens are sitting on top of your skin. And so That's a big difference. Yeah, add some powder. So, outside of that, anyone have any questions for me? If you want me to give you a too long, didn't watch version of my Gwyneth Paltrow opinion, I can give it to you right now, again. But if you want the long-winded version, after tonight's stream ends, just go back and watch it. Because yeah, I have lots of thoughts on the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. I also got a question off Instagram about where I think I would find myself in 10 years. Yeah, I'm just, for the people that are watching but not commenting, because I see how many people are watching. I see who's here, by the way. I'm not trying to call you out, but I see you. If they wanted me to go over it again, because it is in the title of the Gwyneth Paltrow trial, but whatever. So let's just go on to where I think I would be in 10 years. Honestly, I feel like in 10 years, I will be living in Miami Beach, Florida. That's where I'll be in 10 years. Honestly, truly. That's where I think I'll be. I think I will probably be living off of dividends. Listen, this is the plan, honey. This is the plan. I'm a Capricorn. I'm a climber. I like to climb mountains. And I see what mountain I'm climbing right now. And I do believe that in 10 years, I will be living primarily off of... I'm not going to be retired, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to have enough money to be retired. I'm not saying that. But I will have invested a lot of money in the next 10 years. And I am a big dividend investor. I like to invest for cash flow because I don't want to work my entire life away. And so you have more of the traditional route of investing where people will invest money for the long growth. No, my stock portfolio is not growing per se in the traditional sense. It is paying a large sum of dividends. Now, it does come with a big drawback. It comes with a higher tax price. I have to pay more taxes on my portfolio than a typical investor because I'm getting so much cash in advance. But I don't mind that because cash flow gives you flexibility. Cash flow gives you options. Cash flow gives you freedom. So, having a bunch of money tied up that you can't withdraw, like that doesn't... Okay, yeah, you have it, but that's unrealized gains. The way my portfolio is set up is that I'm going to be getting dividends, monthly dividends, and I'm going to have to pay a lot of taxes on that stuff, but I'm going to have the freedom to choose what I do with my money right now in the present day, not 50 years from now. So that's the T there. I predict that I will be in Miami Beach, either half the year or the whole year. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see where things lie. Will I still be a full-time content creator? Hopefully I will be. The channel may change and transform and evolve in the next 10 years. If you're not evolving, you're dying. So I'm sure that I will be evolving in multiple different ways, and I'm looking forward to that. In terms of Miami Beach specifically, the whole idea of living in South Beach, it's a no for me. I cannot live in South Beach because every year I see about all these ratchet ass animals that go down there for spring break and they tear the city up. I don't think I could handle that. Brickell, listen. Brickell might be the spot. Now, Brickell's in Miami proper, and I never really think of myself to be living in the city. Like, I do love Miami Beach. Like, I'm thinking about North Beach right now. Because North Beach has all the like lifestyle perks of South Beach without the drama. But Brickell is like the New York City of the South. Okay, it is the new business district of the United States of America. People are flocking down to Brickell, and it's very high tech. It's very big into, finance, the finance and business world, and it's kind of my vibe. Brickell is kind of my vibe. They opened, of course they did. Of course, it's Brickell. Brickell is a fantastic place. Who knows? 10 years from now, we'll see where I am. I go to Miami Beach every year for a week or two. And I've been doing that now for 7 years. So I've become really familiar with Miami Beach. But I don't go to Miami very often. So I don't go to the city very often. I usually stay on the beach. But when I have been in Miami, it's culturally a little bit different. The beach is, understandably so, because of all the tourism. The beach is more laid back. It's like vacation time. Like, we're relaxing, we're beaching, we're drinking, we're just having a good time, and everything's slow. Like, your service is slow. Don't expect your barista to move fast or quickly, because he's gonna move slow too. Your server at the restaurant, they're gonna move slow. They're on vacation. They're at work, but they're on vacation. They live on Miami Beach. Everything is slow paced, and I love that about the culture in Miami. People go there and they think it's like bad service. I love that. Stop fucking rushing all over the place, okay? And Miami, the city, it's more bustling. Brickell is like people are hustling in Miami. People are podcasting. People got shit to do. People are moving. It gives more of that like New York City vibe, but pleasant, happy, not miserable like the people in New York City. Like everyone's happy in Miami. Because how could you not? Sorry for the New York shade. Sorry, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. But that's what that's given. So who knows where I will be in 10 years mentally? Do I want to live on Miami Beach, or do I want to live? Listen, sorry for the shade. Listen, I know I'm not from the New York area. I don't live near there, but it's just from what I hear and what I have experienced in my very, very minimal travels there. People are miserable. People are just miserable. People aren't friendly. People are just like always on the go and just like upset and angry and bitter, and it's like the weather's not good. Like, it's just not the vibe. And I get that there's so many things to do in New York City. Like, I understand. I get it. It's like the capital of the world. I get that New York City is like it is like categorically like the epitome of opportunity. I understand that, and rightfully so. There is a lot of opportunity there, but at what cost? At what cost? Isn't opportunity about happiness? At the end of the day, isn't opportunity about the pursuit of happiness? And if you have to become miserable and decrepit and beat down, and like your soul is crushed in the process of achieving something, some opportunity, is it worth it? Not to me, honey. Not to me. Not I. Not me. Not at all. So that's just my thoughts on, East Coast in general. Because it's like, I feel like the East Coast represents everything people hate about society and money. I feel like you're either struggling financially and like clawing your way to get anything that you can, or silver spoon in your mouth, rich as fuck. And I feel like there's just no, I feel like New York City is representative of every single disparity you can think of. When I think of like disparities, I think of New York City. Because you got the girls that live in the skyscrapers, you know, the golden towers, and they come out of their golden tower and they see bums and homeless outside their doors. That's disparity. Do you know what I mean? And that's New York City. That's what New York City screams to me. Like it's either you're homeless or you're Donald Trump. Not to be dramatic, but I feel like that's the reality for a lot of people. Like, you're either super rich, privileged, and connected. No judgment on any of those statuses, but either you're those things, or you're struggling, or you're fighting, and you're working hard, you're working yourself to the bone. And I feel like it's either one or the other in New York City. And listen, I'm not rich, and I also don't want to struggle. So, so New York is not for me. I'm not rich. I don't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm not super privileged in that way, in the New York City way. And I don't want to be homeless, and I don't want to struggle, and I don't want to fight to the bone for crumbs. That's just me. That's just me. That's just me. Just my opinion. Okay. So, anyway, Miami is for me though. Miami Beach is for me, because Miami Beach is all about luxury and just being carefree and health and happiness and just being, you know, that's the vibe. And it's a melting pot. It's truly, Miami is everything New York City used to be. Not this live stream turning into a New York City versus Miami like slander. Like, but let's talk about it. Miami is everything New York City started off as. Like, Miami is an actual melting pot. It's an international community. No, not Oxford, honey. Well, listen, Oxford is better. Listen, I would love an Oxford any day of the week over New York City. Don't even get it twisted. Oxford, Ohio, absolutely. 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 You might as well call us townies, the way we used to live there. But yeah, I do think that Miami is everything New York City used to be. Sorry. It is an international community. When I'm in Miami Beach, there is so many different cultures present. There are Cubans. There's lots of Mexicans. There's people from all over Latin America. There are Spaniards there from Europe. There are French people. There are Italians. There are even a lot of people from around this country, from the US. There's a lot of people from the East Coast. A lot of people from the West Coast. There's a lot of Canadians down in Florida and Miami specifically. It is just such a melting pot. There's a lot of Indian people in Miami. And I really noticed it, that there's so many Indian restaurants because there's so many Indians living there. And so, for me, it truly is a true marker of diversity. And I appreciate that about Miami Beach. I love that. You know, when it comes to business, being business friendly. You ask any business in the US, would they rather have their headquarters in Miami or New York City, they're going to tell you Miami. Because, I don't mean to get political here, but let's get political here. It's because the government doesn't get in the way of your business as much as in New York City. You know, Florida, the way that it's governed these days, is a very business-friendly place, as it should be, you know? And so, yeah, New York City is losing its stake as the business capital of the world because things have just gotten really weird and crazy after COVID, you know? People are fucking sick of it, finally. You know, and then opportunity. I think that when you think about opportunity, Miami really is the opportunity for the pursuit of happiness. There's jobs. You know, the economy's doing really well. Health is really important down there in Miami Beach. You know, when I'm down there in Miami, I work out every day. Like every day I'm getting like legitimate exercise. And you know why? Because it's part of the culture. Everywhere you go outside, there's 6 outdoor gyms that I pass every day when I'm in Miami Beach. 6 different outdoor gyms. They're unavoidable. And so when exercise is a part of the culture, when the government, and this is what the government should be doing. They should be incentivizing health and wellness and actually doing things that have impact, like building outdoor gyms. Like, it's fucking genius, really. When you think it's actually genius, because when you're walking to the grocery store and you see outdoor, it becomes part of the culture. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm not being very articulate here, but it's ingrained in the culture, and I love that because I'm already a health-minded person already, always have been. And so I really feel alive and compelled to push myself even more in my health journey and my fitness journey when I'm in Miami Beach. So I love that about Miami Beach. You know, I think that's important. What else can I say about Miami Beach? You know, despite a lot of Republicans being so inflammatory and homophobic and just fucking psychotic, Florida's a great place for the homos. It's a great place. I mean, am I gonna get really non-PG-13? No, I'm not. I'll save that for I have lots of thoughts. I have a lot of adult-themed thoughts about Miami that I will save for a well, not just Miami, but Florida in general. That I will save for an exclusive video on Patreon because I have lots of thoughts. But I'm not gonna say it here. But I think it's a great place for the gays. I really do think so. Freedom is really important down there, and it's really important to me. And I think if you are gay, if you're a minority, you should want freedom. That's just what you should want for all individuals, not just any particular group, but for everyone. Because when the individual gains rights, it includes everybody. Because you're an individual, you know. So those are my thoughts on Miami versus New York City. Do we have any questions? Any questions from anyone? Because we are approaching an hour. And I do like to try to keep these streams around an hour. I'm sorry that it ended up being just a huge rant about Miami. Long story short, too long didn't watch, didn't listen, didn't read. In 10 years, I'll be living in Miami Beach. Living the life. Living the vida loco. That's what I'll be doing. Yeah, I'll be living there. It'll be lovely. And that's kind of the plan. That's the plan right now. For anyone that's watching, These streams are all about questions. So I don't come up with topics for this. Okay? I don't come up with a script about what we talk about. I ask questions from my Patreon, on my Instagram, and on my YouTube channel, and you guys submit questions and I just answer them. You can ask me questions live. I'm a pretty open book, so you can ask most questions and I'll answer most of them. Push my boundaries, because if I don't want to answer a question, I'll tell you why I want to answer it, and it'll just be that. I'm not afraid to say no. I come from a place of no, generally. So, yeah, I'll say no. If I don't feel comfortable with something, I'll just say that. But for the most part, ask me about anything. Finances, romance, relationships, sex, politics, skincare, obviously. Skin is skinning, right? I have a little bit of irritation right there, but the skin is skinning in general. Of course you're gonna visit. Yes, absolutely. So if there's no questions, I'm going to end the stream momentarily. I'll give you another minute for someone to ask me a question. But if no questions, then I'm gonna go watch the rest of the Gwyneth Paltrow trial that I missed earlier today. Because that's what I'm into. Just let me know. Oh, this is a bop. Okay, we're gonna end it then. Thanks, Queenie, for stopping by. I appreciate you so much. Love, love, love. And I will see you guys next Monday at the same time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to do all the YouTubey things. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Queenie, don't forget to go and rewatch the beginning of this live for my Gwyneth Paltrow my Gwyneth Paltrow trial analysis. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.